Yes, thank you guys so much for coming back to do Wind Down with me after the technical difficulties.
We had fun nice. Talking and getting drunk.
Are you guys drinking red again, or?
We're actually drinking a pink Riesling.
I've got my trusty cab, so. Yeah, so what have you guys been up to this week with Big Black Chapters? I've been kind of MIA on social media this last week.
So have I, because I've been trying to catch up on all of my mini projects.
I've been in there entertaining the masses.
So you guys have Big Black Chapters, Big Black Stories, Big Black promos. How do you guys keep up with all of it?
Well, the Big Black Stories is just...
It's like our beta reading
It's group. Our alpha and beta reading group. So it's not, that doesn't require as much moderation.
Yeah, whenever we come up with something, we post it.
Yeah, or if we, and the stories that we work on, we have actors, that
we pick actors for our visuals.
We cast them, and so if we come across, a picture or article or something like that, we'll throw it in there. But the story group, that's something different. And then as far as the promo group, that's just the spam group where everyone is supposed to drop their promotional links.
Not to be in the main
right. Group. It makes it easier for us when we're choosing, the daily read, or if we're looking for books for blog posts or whatever. It's easier just to go to the promo group than it is to.
We don't really even moderate. You can put whatever you want.
Right. Then the Big Black Chapters,
Yeah.
A lot of moderating is deleting links, the promo links. Yeah.
Now, what I will say I'll do as a courtesy, just in case, I know some people don't know we have a promo group, is if they share a link from like another page, I'll, click the end tab link and share it to the promo group. And hopefully they'll catch the hint that, hey, this should go in the promo group. But then I still delete it from Big Black Chapters.
Yeah. And then we have the website, the blog, that we rarely ever mention, but
yeah, she mostly runs that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do all that.
Yeah.
Hey, I take care of the Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to link you guys' website and the groups on the description box below.
I mean, all of it, bigblackchapters.com. It's a work in progress, but we do feature the daily reads there. There is a page for where you can submit your book. If you want to be featured on, right, or to just be featured on the site. We will be rolling out author marketing services, book marketing services here soon for Big Black Chapters. And all of that information and ordering information and that sort of thing will be on the website. I'm sure if you've seen, I've been doing book trailers, and she has been helping people with their blurbs and synopsises unofficially, but we'll be rolling out those services under the Big Black Chapters banner sometime here, I'd say within the next 2-3 months.
Ebook format.
Yeah, ebook formatting, that sort of thing. So, and of course, the promotional stuff that we already do as we grow and get more exposure. We'll offer featured paid advertising spots and more promotion, paid promotional services under the Big Black Chapters banner. So all that's coming. Work in progress.
Yay! Yeah, I'll probably be one of your first customers on everything.
Thank you. Love it. Ultimately, the goal for Big Black Chapters, we're thinking, if we're interested in maybe doing a podcast. I don't know. We have a YouTube. She wants a bookstore. That's my baby's dream. And a Black bookstore. Of course, it would be big Black chapters with the focus on Black authors and indie authors. I feel like with bookstores, mostly they focus on traditionally published authors and, you know, books that they know people are looking for. If my baby does get her bookstore, she's just trying to have all the books by all the Black authors. So that's her. And she's also a wonderful baker. And so it would be
like a
cafe, you know, some open mic nights, some poetry slams, all of that good stuff. Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work. So we'll see if I can get my baby her bookstore. That's the ultimate goal. And then I would like to see a Big Black Chapters magazine. Like how Jet magazine used to be, with the focus on like all pro Black, but more focused on like the arts, more so, you know, entertainment, like, you know, Black books.
Like our page.
Right. Books, literature, movie, you know, theater, that sort of thing. So that's the ultimate goal. So we'll see.
Basically, I take over the world.
Pretty much.
So I'm hearing all the things. You guys are just going to do all of it.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be the Black Book Riot. You know what I mean? Like the Black Book Hub. You know, I mean, they have those spaces for us, the African American interest category and that sort of thing. But it doesn't really grasp the diversity of African American literature. Like, it's so vast, we can't all just be lumped into African American interest.
That's the thing, though. Why do we have to have a specific category? Why can't our book just be one of the romance picks? Why can't our
because
book
we already know
why. Picks? But you know what I'm saying.
That's why we need to create our own platforms. And trying to sway people to think differently is not going to work. It hasn't worked for this long. Like, so I just don't feel like you should waste your breath and just work on creating your own spaces while also being able to, you know, manipulate other spaces as well. So we'll see if I can get there. We'll see if we can get there.
Speaking of creating our own spaces, I know you guys have created Big Black Chapters as an own voices space. And we talked about it in the previous recording that didn't work out so well, but I wanted to bring it up again because it was a topic that we were all really kind of into and got really kind of intimate about. But the idea of urban fiction all being street lit.
We have a similar view of what urban fiction is and what street lit is. Whereas most people, like what we would see as urban fiction, many people view as street, you know, urban fiction and street literature is often right, and it's not, because with urban fiction you have urban romance and urban horror and all the other sub-genres and tropes that come along with it. So it's a broad genre, but unfortunately street lit becomes, you know, what it's known as or what it's represented by. And I mean, I feel that a lot of mainstream Black writers' books are urban fiction. If you're gonna go by the definition, what my definition is, then it would be urban fiction. But as Black people now, we're just we don't want to even, like, my book's not urban at all. Like, my book's not urban at all. So urban has become this, I don't know, I don't want to say thug, gangster love story, like trap king, queen. That's what they think. But that's street lit. Like, I could write a love story about two kids from the Bronx that would be urban fiction, even though they're not gangbangers or track queens or strippers or whatever else people associate urban fiction with. It's a blessing.
I think people come to expect that aspect from a Black writer, because I know I've seen, like, especially on Twitter, a lot of the Black romance writers, they'll submit their stuff to a traditional publisher, and they'll tell them, well, it's not urban enough, it's not hood enough, it's not Black enough, even though the characters are Black. And, you know, they feel like, I guess we're all street, which there's nothing wrong with being street or from a particular area, but like, we live the same lives as you.
Pretty much they they're typecast books, just like they typecast us in movies and everything else. You know, that's why I'm all for Black writers writing multiracial, all kind of characters. Like, do it, because they expect so much from you, and if they see you as a Black writer, chances are they're gonna assume your book is one way, or and for some reason people, I don't want to say people, I write in romance, so I get the 40, 50-year-old ladies telling me that they would never be able to relate to a love story about a lawyer and a CEO of an African oil company who happens to be Black, even though this love story is based on my life and those lives of people around me. But it's not relatable to you because a Black man can't be CEO. It's not, you know what I mean? Or white, you know what I mean? Or, and then we've been told before that, there's some white people who just really don't understand that Black people have relationships. We fall in love just like other people. For some reason, we're just so hardened to some that we only get together to mate and have babies to get government checks. Like, there are people who really think this. And that's why they relate to Twinkling Vampires more than they'll relate to a story about a Black lawyer and CEO falling in love. And that's sad.
But I think we do want those stories.
We want those
even
stories.
If they don't want them, I'm still going to write them for us. I mean, write it for your audience. If they don't like it, they can't be pleased by it, well, they're not your audience. Write for who does want that, who does want to read that.
But even some of our own don't even believe
Some of our own want the street lit, which there's nothing wrong with that either, but some of us do want pure urban romance or African American literature, whatever you want to call it. So I mean, there's an audience for everybody.
But to get your ducats, to get some money, any successful business venture takes money. And as artists, we have to struggle between business and creativity. I'm a creative person, but my background is business. So I always think left brain, right brain. I write African American contemporary romance. It's my love. I haven't published any of my books yet. I've been working on those stories for years. Those little contemporary white erotic pieces that I do in like a month and publish, yes, those characters are my characters. Those are my stories. They hold a place dear to me. But those are just marketing practice and to bring in revenue to support my other more passionate projects. And I encourage every Black person to do it. Not only that, it just opens you up to more opportunities, I feel. Like, I started out as a ghostwriter, so it just came naturally to me. You have to know how to work both worlds. Because even though we created our own space, I know there might be a time and a place where I have to represent big Black chapters in the mainstream spaces. And I have to be able to navigate that way. navigate that space. So you have to know how to come switch it up. And you should do it the same in your writing. Yes, I said it. Some people a lot of people might not agree with me, but I feel like
as far as big black chapters in the main world, when people ask me about it, I mean, I don't feel like it's a race issue. I feel like when they ask me, well, how come you don't represent all indie authors? Because you already have a platform. You have Barnes and Nobles, you have Books A Million, you have Half Price Books. You can scroll all those sites, and in an hour, you can probably only come across 5 Black authors from scrolling their pages. Even traditional Black authors,
and they're going to be traditional. They're not going to be indie.
But I'm saying even the mainstream traditional Black authors, you have to scroll for a long time to come across a Black person on those pages, and that's the issue. So that's why we have big Black chapters. It's not to exclude you; it's to have a place and a platform for us.
There was a post made on Facebook recently by author Coco Brown. She does Hexes and O's, and it's like an interracial romance that features heavily like the South Carolina Gullah culture. Apparently, there's an issue with interracial and multicultural being lumped together on Amazon. And so when you search interracial romance, instead of being Black woman, white man, you're getting Russian dude, American woman. And so she's started this petition to get Amazon on change.org to get Amazon to separate it, to have interracial being its own category separate from multicultural, because multicultural also has its own separate category.
And yeah, it's interracial and multicultural is the category. And there's only one interracial multicultural, and it's romance. My book is not considered a romance, but that's all I could pick because that's the only interracial category.
Because I know that a lot of authors who write interracial romance don't feel welcomed in the Black writing community because they're kind of seen like they're straddling the fence. Like they don't want to be, a part of the Black market, but they are trying to market to both.
Let me say, I feel like at big Black chapters, if you're Black, you're welcome. It doesn't matter what you write. You could be writing white characters. You could be writing interracial characters. If you're Black and you're a Black indie author, then big Black chapters is your platform. It just so happened that my first book is interracial because that was a story I wrote, but I wrote that story like 15 years ago when interracial romance wasn't even a thing. It's always been normal to me, interracial relationships. And as far as big Black chapters, if you're a Black writer, that's part of being a writer. You create what you want to create. And I know some people write it as a niche, but my story it touches on the racial aspect of it. It touches on Black people having a problem with interracial relationships and Caucasian people having a problem with interracial dating. So,
but then again, your book isn't a romance. It's
not
like for women. It's like more it's fiction. It's contemporary, like literary.
It's like fiction.
And it delves deeper into those issues.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say about big Black chapters, personal issues aside, like how we feel about certain issues, if you're a Black writer, you're welcome. You know what I mean? And I know you saw you might have seen the post where I had to come off a little bit, where I was like, I don't like half of the people in here, but I'm going to still support you. And that's what it all comes down to. And I feel like that's why a lot of Black spaces don't succeed, because this isn't Black enough. Or that's not what Black people do, or you know what I mean? Like paper bag tests are gone. Those days are over. We're not doing that anymore in any shape or form. So you're welcome. Do I have a personal issue with interracial romance? If you write it like white savior, yeah, I do. But other than that, do you, girl? Write whatever you want, because I know I write some problematic stuff myself. So you know, but I'm still gonna, you can be the daily read. You know what I mean? Like if your book is edited and has a competitive cover, book discussion, story time, have no issue with that at all.
I can say that, but that's not an issue for us at Big Black Chapters.
Right. Yeah.
You can write whatever you want. You want to write alien, dragon love, okay? Do you?
Werewolf baby shifters.
Now that's not to say that we'll read all of that.
No.
But I mean,
no.
We'll support you. That's you have a question, we'll answer it.
Yeah.
We'll help you out the best way we can. Here's some links on some alien sci-fi stuff.
I have lots of resources.
Yeah, right now the A.M. Griffin's Alien Abduction series is what I'm reading as far as Black sci-fi. And for interracial, I have Erin St. Charles's. I think it's Shifter Enforcers, but I also call it Gods and Concubines. And hers are interracial. I think mostly Black woman, white male, but then she has an Asian man, Black woman.
Mm-hmm. That's very popular.
Speaking of Black authors in the paranormal, what is you guys' take on the urban paranormal genre? Like, it kind of bugs me because I'm like, just say that you're writing paranormal romance. Like, you don't have to. Like, I know there's some that are like more street lit inspired that are paranormal, but sometimes I'm like, this is basically a paranormal romance. Like, why not just say it's a paranormal romance?
Notice that a lot of the Caucasian ones are actually classified as urban paranormal as well. Like Anita Baker and what's her name, Lauren Ferrin, because they're using the correct terminology of the location and not your skin color. Because those books are in, urban dwellings. So I've seen those books classified as urban fiction or urban paranormal.
I think a lot of Black indie authors don't spend the time to research tropes and genres and reader expectations and all the things that come with traditional publishing. Because yes, we are indies, but the traditional publishing, they made the rules. It's still their game. Like Amazon, our game is on Amazon pretty much. And other places that now allow indie publishing because of Amazon. You still need
to
follow those rules.
If you want to get the success or the readership that they have,
right?
I mean, they obviously have a tried and true formula that works for them. I think I posted a question in the group, what was that, yesterday, the day before, about writing multiple genres under one name. And of course, everybody in our group is indie authors. And, me and Raquel have had this debate. I've already, I intend to write everything under my name.
And I advise her not to. Every chance.
And, I just posted in the group. I posted in the group. I wanted to get feedback from the readers, but a lot of the authors answered. And I could tell where they were coming from, that, the game has changed. We have Amazon and all of this. But if you're really serious about your craft and you want to be a successful author, you do have to follow some of those traditional rules of like Stephen King or Dean Koontz.
It's like what being,
they write. When you see that name,
you know what to expect.
What you're gonna get.
And that's those readers' expectations. When you see a cover with a shirtless man and some calligraphy script font, it's a smutty romance, kind of on the dark side, probably. And you wouldn't
want to see one of those covers with comic book
or and I feel like as Black indie artists especially, that's where we drop the ball, because we put what we like and what we feel in our heart, and that's what the readers, they want a good story. They don't really give a damn your mood at 3 a.m. when you were writing it, so.
Or they do it the opposite way. They put those covers that grab the reader's attention, but the story inside is not what they're used to from that particular kind of cover.
And then they don't understand why they're not getting the response that they hoped. There's a disconnect.
Yeah, you have to brand it all around.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely a mistake I made with my first series, because my original cover was very cartoony and anime, and then my book was just straight romance.
Yeah.
And then, so I had to completely rebrand, and I did, the shirtless male, right? For my Mora's Men series. And even though it's, that was the time period, that was what was being put on paranormal romance at the time, was just like you said, a shirtless man with like some armor and some calligraphy font. But like now I look at the covers and I'm just kind of like,
more animated, at least the contemporary romances are. The vector images and things like that, at least the traditionally published books are. But as it goes, the indie authors who are at the top of their game, they'll start following the trends of the traditionally published authors. Because like B.M. Harding said, like the post about the best advice you would give somebody starting out, and she said, treat your books like you're traditionally published, like you're your own publishing company. Do all the things that a traditional publisher would do for their author.
Your cover, your
editor, proofreader, marketing,
pricing,
branding, strategy, all of that. Yeah. Like, I know the struggle. Ooh, this took me away from my kids. I'm tired. I'm sleepless. I want to charge $5 for this book. Girl, ain't nobody gonna buy your book for $5. Like you have to study.
Not if it's 10 pages.
Yeah.
Look, even if it's 200 pages, people don't want to pay $5. I feel like the cap on ebooks is $3.
Unless you're Roberts or Dean Koontz or someone like that. Yeah.
But that's why I like Kindle Unlimited, because it gives you that option to, check the book out, and then you might be willing to give that author $5 once you've read one of their books that you like. But of course, like you say, you have to match your pricing with the book length.
And I would also like to see more authors making the effort to do paperback and audiobooks, because I like reading ebooks, but if it's a really good book, like I might want to have it in my collection. When I drop my books, I make sure I have at least the ebook and the paperback ready to go. I'm still working on hardcover, and audiobook, but I feel like so much of the Black writing community is just fixated on that quick buck of ebook.
Yeah.
Especially
a lot of problems with the Black indie author community. I'm a lurker. I stay behind the scenes with the gangster lean. Like, most people don't even know, like, I'm the founder. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of like stay away from things and just go with the flow. But there's a lot of stuff I don't like that I see. And I don't say anything now because I don't feel like I'm in a position of authority just yet to say so. Maybe when I have more respect on my name, then I'll approach some things. But indie authors already have it rough. Like there's already this reputation that our books is subpar, whether we're white, black, Asian, or whatever. Like there's some libraries that won't even touch indie books at all. So when you have black authors, it's already a struggle for us because the stock photos are limited for us. Finding designers who know how to work with black lighting and black skin and things like this, you know, it's already a uphill struggle for us in that aspect, which makes things more expensive for us sometimes. If you just have to have a black cover with white letters on it to pay for an editor, you just gonna have to wait or do something instead of pushing out these ebooks that are like stories that with a lot of filler in the back. And I'm like, pretty soon Amazon's gonna have a crackdown again, like they did
not only that,
before.
But you're ruining your name. You're ruining
not just your name, but all.
Well, that too. But I mean, once you put out a book that the readers don't like, they're not really gonna give you another chance. So you always want to put out your best efforts.
Yeah, and another thing I will say about Black indie authors that some people might give me some flack for this, but I'm gonna say it because I've been drinking. Other writers are not your fan base. Tagging every author on your Facebook timeline when your new release drops. I get it, but those are not the people you should be marketing to.
I tell you what, they're not marketing, they're marketing to your readers on your page. On the slate.
Not even that. If y'all don't write the same kind of stories.
But they figure they're readers, so they might be interested.
Look, I get that, but I'm sorry. Like, I really
either, but I know why they do it. They're not doing it because they want me to read, the author to read the book. They're doing it because they know I have a fan base that follows my page. When they tag my name, that means it's going on my page. Therefore, all of my readers who are scrolling my page are going to see their book. And possibly one of them will want to read their book.
Girl, I see so much tit for tat. Tag me, I'm going to tag
there
you.
Is that, yeah.
Buy my book, I'm going to buy your book. You never get better because other writers are not your target audience. You don't know if people really like your book. You know, just leaving reviews in exchange to get a review. Like, I don't participate in any of that. I don't market like I should just because I'm trying to get my catalog built up, and then I feel like it'll make more sense for me to spend money and time doing the big promos. I think the time would be better spent trying to reach your ideal audience, because when you reach that ideal audience, you don't have to spend so much time tagging people and blasting groups and all the other stuff that we do to put our books out there, because then your readers do the heavy work for you.
Yeah.
That's just me, girl.
Well, I know my strategy is mostly just doing as many like interviews, blogs, Facebook lives that I can, because the more I'm out there myself as an author, the more likely that people are going to want to, you know, buy my books. But at the same time, like I see it on Twitter, I see it on Instagram. I'm like, you're promoting your book, but all your hashtags are writers of IG, writers of this, authors of that. And I'm like, yeah, there's readers that are on those hashtags, but not a whole lot.
Like my hashtag is bibliophile, bookworm, Barnes and Nobles, books. You want a book? Get a book.
For now, my marketing consists of blogging. That's where I get the most return on my investment. I haven't had much expense except time setting the site up and writing those Kinktober stories, making a Canva cover, throwing it on Pinterest, and just watch the traffic roll in. and I get book sales from that. Not many, but I mean, I'm probably about as much as I would get if I paid for Amazon ads. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm hitting people all over the world. You know, all over the world. They're sharing it. I would tell everyone to blog, get your your author platform down, because Facebook could go dark tomorrow. And then what? Then what are you gonna do? Try and scramble for your Twitter password or whatever. Like, but then what are you gonna do? And then I write erotic content, so I feel like it's a must. If you write erotica or even slutty romance, to have your own self-hosted platform, because Facebook could just X you out. And then what are you gonna do? You still need some way to reach your audience, and I feel like a blog is the best way to do that. And go to Big Black Chapters blog.
No, I totally get it. I have when I think Instagram went down and everybody,
Yeah.
I was like, that's why I have Twitter and Tumblr and Pinterest and Reddit.
It's like, I'm a social media manager, and I was actually like scheduling social media posts for clients that day, and I couldn't log into like so many services because I use my Facebook to log in to other sites. So I couldn't even log into other sites because I don't remember my password. It was a Facebook login. So I was completely stuck. I'm like, Mark Zuck has taken over the world. Him and Jeff Bezos have it in the bag. Like, they
yeah, I don't use that option. I use my email option.
I always use the Facebook because it's just easier, and then now look, I'm locked out of everything, can't do no work.
Yeah, I don't do the Facebook. I use Google. And that's not too much better. But the whole business side of writing is something that I don't really see talked about a lot in the indie author community. It's always like, at least the Black indie author community, because it's always just like, oh, I got the story, I got a book cover, I'm just going to put it out there. And I'm like, okay, what is your marketing?
Trust me.
They think their marketing is posting
right
and turning people on.
That is my biggest problem with, and it's not even indie authors, just like Black people in general. We don't understand the value in certain services. That's why I'm quiet a lot, because my background is in business, and with Black people, it's always how we feel. It's in my heart. This is my story. You ain't gonna tell me nothing. Like, that's why I didn't want to do self-published. I'm doing self-published because it's mine. No, it's not. Like, it is, but it isn't. Like, you still have, you have more creative control. But I mean, we don't go through the world making our own rules in anything that we do. So, I mean, yeah, stay in your own lane, but you still have to abide by the rules of the road.
As you don't just post your book and that's it. Like, what kind of links are you using? Do you have affiliate links? What advertisements are on your pages? What are your other
branding? What's your message? Who's your audience? All of that.
Yes. Yeah. At this point, I'm starting out, and I want there to be more Black authors succeeding, and I know that we don't all have unlimited budgets.
Well, I'm working on, we're working on the author marketing services. I'm thinking, we get a lot of questions about blogging and WordPress and branding and MailChimp and all the other, back end things that you have to deal with. So I'm thinking about maybe doing some courses, because that's what I do in my professional life. I'm a freelance copywriter, digital marketing consultant. So those things just come natural to me now because I've just been doing them for so long. But it gets tedious explaining, the same things over and over again. So I'm thinking about creating maybe some courses, email courses, maybe one-on-one
YouTube
coaching.
Videos.
Huh?
YouTube videos, and then you can just put the video in.
A bit more about books. So, what are you reading right now?
I just started it today when I was getting my nails done. You can go.
Oh, I don't have my phone. I'm reading The Swallows by Lisa Lutz. She wrote The Passenger. I don't know if anybody's read that, but it's a arc that I'm gonna review on Big Black Chapters. That's basically about a new teacher at a private school, and she finds out that all the guys are basically making all the young girls in the school give them BJs. I don't know if this is, I'm gonna use the PC term just in case.
Say what now?
And they're scoring them and then giving them an award at the end of the year for this. And it's basically all the top elite students doing it. So basically her and some of the other students are trying to get together and shut down their little program. Really good. I love Lisa Lutz because she's like a fast-paced writer. So it's like always craziness going on. But that's what I'm reading right now.
I am reading Pennies by Pepper Winters. And it is the first book of hers I've read. It's that dark, captive, oh Lord, I'm finna go be in a life of sexual servitude that I just love. Something about it, I just love it. I don't know what's wrong with me. But yeah, so I started this today. So far, so good. I don't read fiction while I'm writing. I only read non-fiction. So this is like, I guess I'm taking a break, I guess.
You don't need to be reading that day because you're supposed to be writing.
I show them, but I'm going to read this because this is good. I'll finish it, so. Yeah.
I can read and write at the same time. It doesn't affect me at all.
It doesn't affect me. I just don't want it, subconsciously to,
My mind don't work like anybody else. So whatever I'm writing is all me.
But this looks like it's gonna be a delightfully naughty, nasty good read, and I'm ready for it. Yeah. So.
Oh man. Oh, that is another topic that has come up recently with social media, specifically on Twitter. But there's been more of a movement towards mainstream romances using toys and masturbation in their novels. So I know in mine, I kind of have a thing about masturbation. Like that's part of my romantic buildup is there's always the scene where my characters are like masturbating to each other. And whether they feel, ashamed about it or whether they're just like whatever about it, depends on the character and everything. But what do you think about this movement? Is it something that you would include in your own writing? And
I'll handle this first.
I don't write erotica.
You don't.
But it's not erotica. It's like any romantic. The push is for it to be in any romantic storyline because masturbation is a natural part of life.
I think about my family reading it, so I try to keep it.
Yeah, because she won't. I'm writing everything under my name. You don't realize how much of a hindrance. Let me not.
Look,
but my mama know it. My mama Jehovah's Witness, and she know all the nasty stuff I be writing about.
I mean, like the crush has sex in it and stuff.
No, not the kind of.
No. It ain't nothing wild and crazy.
But even the headmaster's not wild. It's just dirty.
Well, headmaster's wild for me.
Look, my grandma read my first book and she was like, "This scene ain't spicy enough."
So almost was pouring working on something one day or another, so I don't care.
I wouldn't care about my mom, but like my dad, I would be like, don't read that, Dad.
I love it. Like we always hear about men masturbating.
Do you have that? There's no scene of that in the Headmaster. She don't masturbate in any of them.
The first time he meets her, he do it
to
her.
Yeah.
But no, not in the Headmaster, no, but in my other books. It's some of the stuff some of the stuff I've written personally that's never been published.
Masturbating to Nikolai.
Yeah. I usually have the guy request the woman masturbate and he watches. That's usually how it goes. That's what's gonna happen with Zoo and Nay. Is she gonna feel uncomfortable because she's so exposed?
I'm Nay.
Yeah.
Good, bro.
Yeah.
If you here, you might as well get it on the popping. Get to doing what you gonna do. Why I gotta do it?
It's not about you, it's about them. And watching
I got a whole man here and I gotta masturbate. I don't get it. I got a whole man sitting right here and I'm a masturbate.
Yeah,
boy, you better get some popping.
Yeah, they like it. They like watching.
Look, didn't you guys watch that viral video, the lady explaining sex and how you're 98% more likely to orgasm in a lesbian encounter or by masturbation versus with penetration?
I saw it when she was explaining what the G-spot was and clitoral stimulation, and like men don't even realize that we need that. Most of us need that in order to orgasm. Like, it's not just decoration. It's there for a reason. I'm all for it. The masturbation month, masturbation May, was it, or whatever? Yeah, I'm down for it. And I'm down for seeing more couples that, I want to see dad bods and yeah, I want to, just a good Southern dad.
I'll read anything.
Cornbread dad.
I won't write it, but I'll read anything.
No, okay, so in my second novel, Claude's Conquest, the guy, he's a vampire, right? And so the female that he's interested in is staying in his, mansion, and she's masturbating in her room. And he's walking by and he hears her and he's turned on by it. And so he stands outside of her door and jacks one off to her masturbating. I mean, obviously he goes through that whole mental thing of man, I'm such an effing perv. Why don't I could just knock, I don't want to disturb her, but, this is really hot and everything. So he he's enjoying it. He's getting off on her getting off. But at the same time, he's having that mental discussion in his head about how, it's kind of not okay. And
yeah.
I mean, but there's always something about voyeurism that seems to
turn people on.
I mean, that's why porn is so popular.
Trip for Two is all about that. And there's a masturbation scenes in Trip for Two. That's the
husband trip.
I do have a voyeurism scene in one of my short stories that I wrote for myself where she's the super uptight chick and she leaves a concert and comes across this couple doing it in an abandoned section of the warehouse where this underground club is, and she's watching them and she's getting turned on by it, and some random dude just comes up and starts stroking her, and they end up having sex. She doesn't even turn around. She doesn't know who this dude is, nothing. And
I want to read it.
And then when the couple finishes and she's like, oh my God. And then the couple that she was watching walks by, and the girl who hands her a Plan B pill, and it's just in case.
I'm clutching my pearls.
Kinktober with.
Oh, you should do Kinktober with me, Stella. That would be fun.
I don't know. Maybe I'll post it. Okay, so I write in first person when I do my short stories. They're like really unedited, but if you want to read it, I'll just send you the file.
Yeah, send it to
And
me.
you can let me know if it's good enough to publish. I will create another pen name. For people who don't know, Stella Williams is a pen name.
I can add you to the Erotica Collective group. I mean, that's all we do is test out new pen names with Erotica. And I mean, they write tentacle porn, Bigfoot word porn. They write it all. I write romantic erotica. Like, people don't really understand. Like, I don't write full-fledged raunchy erotica. Like, I'm the type of woman, like, call me beautiful and buy me flowers before you defile me. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's how my stories are. There's some romantic element throughout. So, and my stuff is pretty tame.
That's why the book we're writing together, all the sex scenes, I'm just going to blame it on.
My sex scenes are pretty tame, to be honest. Like, I don't feel like I come up with crazy ideas, but I don't feel like I execute them the way I should. That's why I stay away kind of from erotica, because I'm just like, I
write it and I don't think it's erotic when I'm writing it. Like, I know it's erotic because I'm writing a sex scene, but like, I don't really realize how much it turns people on or how much people were affected by it until after the fact. Like that limo scene in The Headmaster, like,
it wasn't that was so much
erotic. It was just, yeah, and that's the point.
Like, why are you playing?
But that was the point. He was supposed to piss her off, and edging is a kink that a lot of people don't know about. Edging is orgasm suppression. So, you know, you get that person to that point,
and I'm gonna beat you because you're playing.
Frustration makes for a better, more intense orgasm. That's
he got out of the limo and never came back.
No.
My erotica is not that romantic, but it's always some type of you get a happy ending for the characters in some type of way. They might not necessarily end up together or whatever, but
I don't know why people always expect that out of romance.
That's the whole point of romance.
Doesn't always have a happy ending.
That's why, because most of us are trapped in marriages and we want something to.
You're married, you got your happy ending.
That ain't happy. Most of us, well, I mean, love is hard.
To me, the most memorable love stories to me that have always stuck with me are the ones where it's not a happy ending.
Because you crazy.
I'm not. Those are the most memorable ones. Romeo and Juliet, the Titanic. Those are the most memorable stories.
I don't know what she's talking about. She's crazy.
I don't know about you, but the most memorable romance for me was Brandy as Cinderella.
Yeah,
I watched that movie.
My favorite love story is Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone. Isn't that Alicia Silverstone?
Yes.
Absolutely freaking damn adorable. I love that movie.
Those are not books.
No, they're not books, but I just.
I've been watching God. That's not a happy ending.
Romancing the Stone. I loved Romancing the Stone.
And if I had a bookstore of my own, it would be a Romancing the Stone, and it would be all romance books. Yes, my own bookstore, but Romancing the Bone. All black erotica.
Yeah.
That could be a section within Big Black Chapters. It would be like, you know, when you have to go to the video store and it had like the little beaded curtain.
I want my Romancing the Bone section in your store. On it. Yeah, now I want it. But writing erotica is it gets you out of your comfort zone. And I feel it makes you a better writer because there's only so many ways you can write about sex before it begins to sound redundant. So when you write erotica, it forces you to use new words and play around with style and sentence structure and things like that. So even if you don't write it to publish it, I feel everyone should practice writing some erotica. It really does help. I mean, the first sex scene I wrote, I still have it. It was horrible. It was like I was reading instructions to make jiffy cornbread. You know, it was very like cut and dry. Like he put his fingers there, and she was like, "Yes, that feels good." Like it was very, you know, like so. It helps. It helps. So I say everybody should write it, even if they just write it for themselves. Like it makes you step out of your comfort zone, and in the end, I think it makes you a better writer. Yeah, I'm really stepping out of my comfort zone with this next one.
Look, I don't even know what your comfort zone is, so for you to step out of it.
I'll be writing my African American, or I'll be publishing my Black romance stories under a pen name. Like I only write nonfiction under my name, Raquel Lemos. Like, so I already have like nonfiction articles and stuff like that published under my name. So I have a book of natural bath and body and hair recipes coming out. Don't ask me when, but it's coming out, and that'll be under my name, Raquel Lemos. But everything else I write will be under a pen name.
Having a pen name is fun because
it's fun.
The normal me is very quiet and reserved and likes to stay at home and watch TV and read books and not do much of anything. But Stella likes to wear red lipstick and be the center of attention and do parties, be the party animal and all that stuff. So it kind of works out with having a separate author persona and being able to turn that off and go back to like my life. And yeah, so the only thing I have to like get used to is I used to keep my like appearance separate too. So before, every time I took pictures as Stella, I would have my glasses off and I would have my hair straightened. So like when I first cut my hair, I would wear wigs in pictures to keep, Stella completely separate. So
most people, like a lot of my reader fans are white men in the UK. And, they think I'm this shit-talking big blonde lady from Texas. And my branding is the 50s pinup girl image, and that's just what I use, and that's what I'm associated with. And I think I'll keep it like that.
Well, thank you for chatting with me on the Serpentine Creative channel. BBC or Big Black Chapters is one of the first groups that I came across that I felt very open and welcome, being an African American writer that wasn't writing street lit. And I thank you guys for creating that platform and creating that safe space for authors like myself.
Much welcome.
Yes, we're glad to have you.
Yes. Glad to have everybody.
Yes.
Yes.